NFL fans, what is going on? Welcome back to the J All Day Sports Show. We're going to do a lunch break video for you guys today. I want to do another Millionaire Maker lineup for DraftKings. The strategy we're going to implement today is all teams that are over a plus 3.5 underdog. So when you're an underdog, what do you have to do? You have to pass. And that's great for PPR type of daily fantasy, right? So I have all the teams checkmarked that are over 3.5 point underdogs, right? And we're going to go through the lineups and build our squad. The first thing I want to do first is pick a defense. I want to find the wiggle room that we have. So we want to get this defense out of the way first. So I want to find some value. Where do we see some value right here, guys? Look, 8.6 fantasy points per game, only $2,800. And if you click on the Raiders, one of their biggest games last year, a 20-bagger was versus the Chargers, right? And if we look early in the season, it's really tough to tell. They only had 4 points there, but they were only $2,300. And they've come a long way defensively over that time period. We could see they were really gelling once Pierce took over as head coach, right? And I look for them to really take it to this Chargers offense that doesn't really have a lot of weapons. And we added Christian Wilkins to the D-line to be paired with Max Crosby. I love the Raiders in this spot at only $2,800. And because they're on the road, they're a little bit cheaper. So now we have $5,900 to spread across our team. Let's get into it. All right, guys, here are the teams we have to choose from that are over 3.5 point underdogs. We got Carolina, Arizona, Tennessee, New England, a lot of road teams, Jacksonville, Denver, and Washington, right? The first play I want to make is at the quarterback position. I think this is a really good play for the quarterback position because this guy, Jaden Daniels, was named the starter. He's going against a team that wasn't great against the pass last year at 25th against quarterbacks. And Jaden Daniels is really good at running the ball. They were running a lot of that read option. And he's also good at the pass. He could score in the end zone. Jaden Daniels. And then we're going to pair him with his two number one wide receivers, Terry McLaurin. And we go down and get Jahan Dotson, who's really cheap at $4,100. So now we have over $6,000 to fill out the rest of our roster. A tight end that I absolutely love in this spot. I do like Trey McBride. I think he's going to be a focal point of this offense this year, but they have a lot more weapons, right? He's not going to be the only guy, man, now. He struggled at the beginning of the year last year. He got big games against Baltimore, Atlanta, games where they had to throw a lot at Pittsburgh, San Francisco, really good teams. That's when they throw a lot. That could be interesting play there. But for $6,100, I like the discount with Evan Ingram, who is just as good, if not better. 963 yards, 114 receptions. Damn! He had a 30-point game, 29-point game. Look at them all on the road, guys. Big games on the road, 17-bagger on the road. He was a little more consistent towards the end of the year too, but Evan Ingram, I think Trevor Lawrence with the new receivers is really going to target Evan Ingram a lot in this game. So now we have $6,500 to get one more wide receiver and some running backs, right? Some running backs in this situation. I do love James Conner, man. I think he's going to have a big game against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills aren't great against the run. Their linebackers are not very good. Milano is done for the year, the linebacker from Buffalo. And if you look at some of his games, biggest games, on the road. Big games on the road, guys. A lot of it, most of his biggest games were on the road. I love James Conner in this spot. Now we have $6,700 to pair out these last three positions. Since we built this roster with the majority of guys that are in these plus 3.5 games, I'm going to clear the board and give us some more options. The first position I want to fill is running back right now. I want to find a little bit of value as well, too. Cook is a very interesting play here. I like James Cook in this spot, but if you look, he had big games against Dallas, Kansas City, but not a bunch of 20-point games. One early against Las Vegas, only over 20 points 3 times. We want to see a little more consistency if we're going to be paying up that kind of cash, right? Joe Mixon is a guy I love in this spot. Look at all these 20-point games. A lot of them, I'm going with Joe Mixon. And then we have the wide receiver position. We got to fill out one more wide receiver. Do we pay up here? If we pay up for Tyreek Hill, we sell $4,800. Or do we go a little bit less, $5,100 left for the flex if we go Justin Jefferson? And then we could go down to Mike Evans or Marvin Harrison Jr., Nico Collins. Not guys that are going to be like focal points of their offense. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson for the wide receiver. And then at the flex position, we still have $5,100. Where do we go from here? I do like Chase Brown at Cincinnati for $5,000. He's going to be a big staple in that offense too. He's probably going to be the main guy in the backfield for the Cincinnati Bengals, right? You can't really look at last year because Joe Mixon was still there. As I'm looking through these guys, I'm trying to find some value, someone who's going to potentially touch the ball, over 10 times a game. I'm not really seeing it here, guys. So sometimes when you lock a player in, you got to make adjustments, right? So I'm going to get rid of Justin Jefferson because I don't know if the value is there that I want. So we're going to go back to the wide receiver position and look around a little bit. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. in play? Then we get to $6,300. That's a very interesting play too. Arizona on the road. Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to be a big-time point of this offense. So this is a high risk, high reward. Another guy I really like is Malik Neighbors, right? At $5,900. We saw Daniel Jones going to him a lot in the preseason. They were really pumping him the ball. He makes a lot of good plays. So $5,900 at the wide receiver position. That opens up $7,600 for us. Do we go with Devontae Adams? Do we go with Mike Evans, guys? Where do we go with that $7,600, right? When I'm looking at who is going to be the focal point of this offense, Devontae Adams with Gardner Minshew should be a little bit better, this year than he was last year with pretty bad quarterback play, and he could break out and have a monster game. I love Devontae Adams as my flex, and we used up the entire allotment for our dollars. All right, NFL fans, here is my Millionaire Maker lineup. We got Jaden Daniels, James Conner, Joe Mixon. Then at the wide receivers, we're going Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Malik Neighbors. Tight end, Evan Ingram. Flex guy, Devontae Adams. I love that pick there. And if you want to, you could even kind of move Devontae Adams up for Jahan Dotson, and then you have $4,100. If you want to pick a tight end who you think could have a big day, someone who's a little bit more interesting in that regard, you could do that as well. But I like the way this lineup is set. I think all these guys can get me 20 to 30 points, and there's some guys that can get us 30 or 40 points. The only guy who isn't going to probably get us 30 points is Dotson, but if he can get us 15 to 20 points, maybe score a touchdown, catch 6 or 7 balls, I think Daniels is going to have to throw a lot in this game. I think he can do it. I think the Raiders can force some turnovers for a lackluster offense against the Chargers. I love this lineup. Here we go. Let's win some cash. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.